Sunday of our fellowship anniversary month. 39 wonderful years of this beautiful fellowship group, spiritual group, and you're going to hear me say that a lot because I'm really proud of that 39 years. Next year it's really special. 40 years. We're all going to turn out for that. So we hope that you join us this month. Each of the Sundays we have something special planned. We didn't do anything to this week because of Labor Day other than have our wonderful speaker and Corey. But the rest of the Sundays we have a ice cream social and another heart-to-heart special Sunday, and also our famous fellowship potluck the end of the month. And I guess the degree of famousness that it's going to be is up to you. And how many people show up and bring something, and we'll get back to doing that hopefully at the end of each month. So I want to also point out to you that there's a card in your little packet. If you look in your packet where you have the bulletin, there's a little card, and it's a contact card, connection card, but on the back is a place for prayer requests. And we've started something a little bit new. We started last Sunday doing a group prayer for anyone that you would like to make note of on this card, something that you would like for us all to pray for. And we'll do that later in the service, so you have some time to think about that, and you've got a little pencil in your envelope, so you should have all you need to make a note. And then just drop this in the collection basket as it comes around. So we're going to start, as we always do, with a meditation. And so I invite you to close your eyes and just begin to relax. And let's take 2 deep breaths together. Breathing in and then letting all that stress out on the exhale. So let's breathe in and out. Breathe in and out. And as you follow your breath, you feel all of the tension in your body just washing away. As we go within, leaving the busy day, the busy holiday weekend, outside the room, as we bring ourselves into this present moment, intentionally and fully. And from this sacred presence, we're aware of divine grace flowing through us into this world, into our relationships and our connections with all beings and our Mother Earth. And it is through this flow that we extend love. This is how we serve, with compassion and kindness. We're able to see the good and expect joy. Remembering that we are never alone. Love is always loving us. together we give thanks for each other and for this fellowship. 39 years of learning, living, love together. We know that it is always well. Everything is always well. And together we say, and so it is. Thank you. So we're going to sing a song together. It's on page 32. So I invite you to stand. We're really going to have to sing loud today. The name of the song is Love Will Guide Us. And so now I want to introduce our special music today, and it's always so special to have Corey, because he's usually brought something original. Is that true today?
It is true today.
All right, so let's give Corey a very warm welcome.
There's one from the Corey Archives. It's called My Prayer for You. As you hear these words, you can hold someone in mind and consciousness that you want to pray for, someone that you feel needs prayers for peace, for joy, for love.
My prayer for you is that you would know peace. My prayer for you is that you would know peace. May beauty and serenity within your soul increase. My prayer for you is that you would know peace. My prayer My prayer for you is that you would feel joy. May happiness and innocence no worldly thing destroy. My prayer for you is that you would feel joy. My prayer for you, your whole life, wherever you go, that peace and joy and love would ever flow. My prayer for you is that you would be loved. My prayer for you is that you would be loved. May endless grace and blessing flow to you from heaven above. My prayer for you is that you would be loved. To everyone you meet, the spirit of true care. My prayer for you is that you would be loved. You may be son.
That was beautiful, a beautiful song, and a very beautiful message. And we thank you for your message today. Now's the time in our service when we pause and we fill our hearts with gratitude for all of the gifts and blessings in our lives. And all of the gifts and blessings that our fellowshipians and those who attend our Sunday services donate and contribute to keep the fellowship thriving into the future, into that 40th year and past. So, John is going to bring the basket around, and remember to put your little card for the prayer in there as well. And so I'd like to invite you to read the blessing of our tithes and offerings. It's on the little bulletin that you have, purple. The light of divine love shines eternally, blessing and multiplying our tithes and offerings. I joyously give, knowing I always have enough to share and to spare. And now I would like for you to close your eyes if you would and bring close into your heart whose ever name or whatever condition or situation collectively, as we pray together, for all those who are in need of comfort, of love, and of healing. May the love that we extend here today find its way into your hearts. And may you be happy and peaceful, healthy and well. And together we say, and so it is. Thank you. One more fellowship song together. This is a fun one and it's a little bit more upbeat, so let's sing out. It's on page 50, that's the very last song in the book, and it's called You Have the Healing Power. So please stand. You know who I picture when I hear that song? Jim Noble. That's good too. Yeah. They're just some of our fellowship songs that he just pops into our minds right away. And he's probably here with us right now, celebrating our 39th year. So I'm very happy to introduce our speaker this afternoon, Reverend John Taylor. He was ordained by our Fellowship School of Ministry, and we had a lot of fun in those classes together, and we're so proud of him. We really are proud of him. So please give him a warm welcome today.
Hi everybody, thanks Mary, that was an awesome intro. And I was just thinking about Jim too. And I was just thinking about some other people that probably are here hanging out. Sometimes I do that. Like this isn't like I just wonder about people that are like not here, like in this plane. I'm like, I wonder what they're up to right now. You know what I mean? Like, because let's face it, we don't know. We only know as much as this whole thing, And anyway, that's enough impromptu. we'll be here all day. So let me talk a little bit, like it's the 39th year of the fellowship, and that means I'm older than the fellowship, just barely. So, I've been coming now for about 8 years, and that's not nothing. And I was actually introduced to the fellowship through another person that I was recently thinking, I wonder what they're up to right now, and that's Taylor Swan. And a lot of us know who he is, and that guy had a heart that was big lover. And, in the time that I've been coming to the fellowship, one thing has stayed consistent. I've kept running into people that have kept encouraging me to keep growing and loving deeper, no matter what's going on in the world, no matter what's going on with me. And that's a big deal. I want to leave no time for my talk, but I remember when we were talking about marriage, and one of the things that really stuck with me was this concept how in different spiritual faiths, there's different ways they explain that. And in the Jewish spiritual faith, what love means to them is may you find someone who challenges you. Which is kind of an interesting way to think about it, right? Like someone, and I don't look at it like challenge, like giving you a hard time. I mean someone who's giving you a hand up to be your best self. So that's kind of what the fellowship is like. I'm always running into someone here that's asking me to dig a little deeper, or better yet, climb a little higher. That's better. Let's go with that. So anyway, and I've never found anywhere else like the fellowship, honestly. I've been associated with a couple other churches, and it was basically our way or the highway. And I don't know about anyone else, but that's just not laid in for me. So, a lot about what I've learned to love authentically, I've learned here. Okay, so let's talk about the talk today, and it's about courageous conversations. And, some people in the audience, they're going to know the bibliography on that. That's not an original concept, but what it means to me is it means communicating to people from right here. And coming from a place of truth and authenticity and love. And that's the courageous part. The courageous part isn't about being right or changing the other person's mind or making a big impact in the world. It's about really coming from right here. Shields down, as they would say on Star Trek. And, that's hard. That's hard. We don't get a lot of examples of what that looks like from people in the world. So, what the inspiration for this talk was is we're recently going through a death in the family. And what I saw in that situation was a lot of pain that looked like it could be sidestepped if people just would have had one heart-to-heart conversation. If people would have just opened up about, I'm so scared, or I'm so scared about my death, or I'm so scared about getting older, or I'm so convinced that grabbing a heap of stuff will make me happy, that just so much could have been avoided if people just would get real. And who knows, there's a miracle maybe, be the change you want to see. So there's some elements in a courageous conversation that I think matter when you're trying to have them. The first one is setting aside any judgments or prejudices you may have, so that you can have an open mind to experience new things. And I really want to lean into setting aside expectations, because I think that's a big problem for me anyway. Is you have an expectation of what you want to accomplish in this conversation, what you want to see done in the world, and sometimes you got to just relax a pinky on that, or maybe just let go of it all the way. You know what I mean? And the next thing is this is a big one. Looking for the good in the other person. I think it's completely impossible to have a courageous conversation with anyone, whether they're someone you love or someone you hate, okay? If you're not willing to look for the good in them. You have to try. It's in there. It's in all of us, really. You know what I mean? Next thing is listening actively and speaking truthfully. So listening actively, I take that as you're not sitting there loading up for what you're going to say when someone stops to catch their breath. You're really listening with an open mind. It can be changed if someone says something that's meaningful. And, speaking truthfully, I don't think we should need an explanation on how to do that. I think you'll know. And taking inspired, positive action and only offering win-win solutions. So that means a rising tide raises all ships, win-win. Everybody walks out of it happier than when they said it. I remember there was a saying that I picked up a couple years ago, which is leave it better than you found it. And I've always liked that. So this is a pretty powerful tool, and I think if we look around the world, we can all agree that we're not using it, right? Like there's not a lot of room for courageous. Like if we look at the highest levels of governance and spirituality, this isn't being used. People are more interested in not communicating authentically, and I really think that that's a huge tragedy. And I'm hoping that from this tiny seed that we're planting here in this room, each one of us at least goes out and tries this one time. And who knows what change it might make in your life and in whoever's life you share it with. Because I do believe this is a gift. When you communicate authentically and lovingly with anyone, whether they're a coworker, family member, even someone you're irritated with in traffic, for goodness sake. We're going to get to this, but when the rubber really meets the road is when you can take the training wheels off and start communicating with more and more people authentically. And, there's a lot of places where you can start to practice this. So there's the Fellowship Deaf Cafe, that's the 17th at 2 p.m. at the Fellowship office, every third Saturday, where they talk about this exact thing that my family's going through. People that pass away, people that leave us too soon, and how do you deal with that? Let's talk about that. There's all kinds of 12-step fellowships for every kinds of variety of whatever you're dealing with. There's trusted friends. There's the fellowship community. There's this prayer thing that we're just now starting to do. And I believe prayer is great, but I believe talking with a trusted friend or a sponsor or someone who you love and they love you right back, that's a good place to start. That's a good place to sort of get your stripes with a courageous conversation. And then it can become easier to start giving yourself permission to do it in places that are more difficult. Practice makes progress. You know what I mean? The thing that is most important about the spiritual aspect of a courageous conversation is in setting aside your views and your expectations of the world, I think you make room to get, as Steve Winwood would say, a higher love. You get a higher perspective. You're looking down on the problem. You're not at eye level looking at the problem, rehearsing all the solutions that haven't worked. You're up there now. You've raised your energy, so to speak. And now from that higher perspective, show of hands. When people get scared, the number one thing that happens to me, I'll just put it for me, I start feeling like there's fewer options. Like my multiple choice questions just went from 4 balloons to 2 balloons to 1 balloon. And when I am not afraid, when I'm in this higher love space, more options open up for what right looks like, whatever the heck that is. I want to lean into the spirituality aspect of a courageous conversation because I really do believe that it is the higher perspective that you can get when you communicate with a higher power or one mind or one consciousness, whatever you want to call it, that lets you start coming up with more authentic answers that resonate right here. And it's just great. When you feel like you've done it, it's great. So let's talk about a personal example, starting with me being awful and slowly doing a little bit better, which is basically the template for everything in my life. So recently we were visiting family, and I have a teenage stepson, and there was a situation going on where my nieces who were younger were practicing their cheers because they're cheerleaders in training, they're very young. And I made the assumption, we recently talked about how dangerous that can be, that Devin, the guy named dropped, was on his phone not paying attention. Okay, I assumed that, and I'm 40 now, so I got a different relationship with technology than he does. He's 16. I assumed he was just paying attention, not paying attention, tuning out. In actuality, after I yelled at him and told him to pay attention, He told me, I'm making a video so that way we can remember this forever. Yeah, there you go. Now, laugh at it. It's stupid. Yeah, I'm stupid. Like, laugh at it. Like, yeah, like, it's just, I sometimes wonder when I'm going to stop learning this way. Right? Like, how many times do I need to step directly on the landmine? You know? Anyway, so there, yeah. So now that I'm feeling about 2 inches tall, that happened. And, you know, I made this big assumption. And so here we got the first active grader. I got to make that right. I've had some people better than me, higher and further along in the spiritual path say, you got to clean that up immediately. Not like 20 minutes from now, not an hour from now. By immediately, I mean as soon as you can, do it authentically. Okay? There's like the, yeah, I'm sorry, and you don't mean it at all. Like, that doesn't count. You'll know when you've, like, made enough laps around Mario Kart to be like, oh yeah, I'm ready for that authentic apology now. And when you're in that apology phase, okay, when you've realized that you're not, like, golden, you're not a saint, you make mistakes too, take that momentum and leapfrog into the next part of the courageous conversation, which is, oh my God, it happened. I always lose my place in these slides. Like, I keep talking. Okay, so leapfrog into the next thing, which is sharing what you're wanting to do, what you were trying to create. And what I said to Devin later on that evening was, listen, there's been a lot of family members die. My parents are in their 80s. I get scared that you're not going to get a chance to know them as well as I would like you to know them before they transition and leave this place. And I get scared that I haven't done that. So I overlay all that fear and all that pain on top of you, and it comes out and put away your damn phone. You know? It has nothing to do with him. It has nothing to do with the situation. It has everything to do with me not being a spiritual adult and not checking in. And when I talked to him about that, he actually said something pretty interesting to me, which was, you know, I think it's hard for any of us to really know what's going on with another person unless we ask. You know what I mean? Like, that's a big sentence right there. Like, how many of us, like, really, when we're in a conversation with someone that's spiritual or in a higher nature, how often in the middle of that do you check in and say, how are you doing? I know I came here with an objective to get something done. Let's just set that aside. I want to know how you're doing right now. And I think that's an element of a courageous conversation, is checking in with the other person and making sure that they're okay. Because you're growing together. Like, just like how me and Devin were growing together, and I should have checked in with him and asked what he was actually doing and what he was trying to create there. And it got even deeper because he was like, yeah, I was trying to make a video to surprise you because it was your birthday. Yeah, but laugh at it some more. Like that. Right on that landmine. Oh, it didn't go up the first time. So, there's 2 really important mindsets. And I think the first one is, for me anyway, anytime you find yourself in a challenging situation or a dysfunctional situation or a dysfunctional conversation, if you're in a high enough spiritual place, you can view that as a chance to grow. And boy, oh boy, if you're in a situation that you don't like being in and you look at it as like an obstacle course to become more spiritual and a better human being, like, get up with me after this. Like, for real, talk to me, because I need help, like, with that. Because a lot of time when my dukes are up, they're up. And so when you're in a tough situation, for me, sometimes lowering those down and being open to a higher perspective is tough to do. And in the meantime, and Rich and I were just talking about this, in the meantime, while you're struggling to get a hold of the process, while you're rodeoing the bull, you get a real accurate appraisal of where you're actually at. Like hanging out with your family for a couple of days. Like, you'll know where, like, there's this idea of, like, where you think you are, and then there's where you actually are. So you'll get some perspective. And I would say that the final step in any courageous conversation is taking inspired action that benefits all people. everyone and everything is better after you've done it. It's like wind on a lake. You can see it, you know it's been there, but it hasn't harmed anything, and everything is just as it is after it comes through. And the answer, you'll know that you've come to it because you co-created with three things. You've co-created with yourself, the other person, and the higher spiritual power. You'll know you've done it. Hopefully you'll know you've done it. More will be revealed. You know what I mean? And you just allow Spirit to do its work. Sometimes, I remember hearing this analogy, sometimes you just got to give enough room for a process to unfold. You know, are there any gardeners, any people that like to grow stuff? Yeah. You can't like dig up a tomato plant and like be like, it's not doing very well. You know, you have to just let it, give it time and love and attention and just let it do its thing. And so, with that being said, how about we do a little bit of a meditation and we think about a place where we could possibly apply a more loving and spiritual conversation and hopefully create something amazing. All right, so let's just close our eyes, please, if you want. Let's just take some deep breaths. Come on in. In through the nose, and then out through the mouth. Slowing it down. In through the nose. Out through the mouth. In through the nose. Out through the mouth. And while we're in this safe and sacred space, let's just stop and take a real quick second to just think about everything that we've received today, while we've been in the presence of loving friends and loving Spirit, and everything we've been receiving every Sunday for the last 39 years. And let's breathe into that. And how the fellowship has made us all better men and women. How it's helped me see higher perspectives, push myself, and how this community means something different to every person. But it all boils down to loving one another. Let's breathe into that. Deep breath in. And now realizing that the way we see the world and the way we interact with the world gives us a chance to spread love, to be love, to be the change that we need and want to see so badly in this world. We have a song that we sing here, let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me. Let us co-create peace on earth and let it begin with all of us. Let us allow ourselves the time and inspiration to heal the world and heal ourselves one courageous conversation at a time, to create something new Thanks, Corey. I don't know what to do without it. Our thoughts are prayers, and we are always praying. Our thoughts are prayers, take charge of what you're saying. See the higher consciousness, a state of peacefulness, and know that God is always there. And every thought becomes a prayer.
Awesome. Thank you, John.
You're welcome.
Amazing job as always, brother. This is called May My Word.
I've heard it said that every thought becomes a wave of prayer, a resonance in sacred space that ripples deep and wide. But when that thought becomes a word and reaches out through the air, the prayer expands in energy, becomes a thing alive. So may my word be kind, may my word be true, may my word bring peace and joy in everything I do. May my word be brave, may my word be wise, may it always seek a way to heal and harmonize. May it speak those things this world needs so much of. May my word be love. So once again, I mind the seeds I planted there, the thoughts that grow and will in time become the words that bloom, that all the fruits of these my lips is sweet and good and fair. The garden full of heart-grown words where only love has room. Yes, may my word be kind, may my word be true, may my word bring peace and joy in everything I do. May my word be brave, may my word be wise, may it always seek a way to heal and harmonize. May my word be merciful, may my word forgive, may my word encourage and embrace this life we live. May my word bring laughter, may my word bring light, may it always seek a way to help the world unite. May it speak on earth below like heaven above. May my word be love. May I speak the words this world needs so much of. May my word be love.
deciding to spend some time with us on your Labor Day holiday weekend. Thank you, virtual watchers, as well. Thank you, Corey, for all your beautiful music all the time, every Sunday. Thank you so much. And thank you, John, for your message, for having that courageous conversation with us. I think the one thing we all appreciate about you is your authenticity. And we just know it's going to be real when John's here to talk with us. And we appreciate that. It is more powerful, so much more powerful. So thank you, and thank you, Samantha, for all you do all the time at the office and here on Sundays. I think we pretty much covered all the announcements. I talked about what we're doing here on Sundays for the rest of the month. John talked about the Death Cafe. Please make some time in your busy calendar to spend more time here with us at the fellowship. We love seeing you. We love